A couple months ago, I was at a thrift store and I found some old license plates from the 1970s. I thought they were kind of cool, kind of beat up. They were about $3 a piece, and I struggled coming up with an idea of what to do with them. And then it dawned on me, I want to make a box with a license plate for the top. I'm going to show you how I did it. I had some old shelf panels that I wanted to use for this project, so I used my table saw sled to square them up and then cut them to the right size to be the height of the box. That white stripe on the license plate, that's just the same width as my table saw blade, so I got that set to the right depth and the right distance from the edge of the panel where I wanted the box lid to sit. So I got that set and then began the work of cutting down the side panels to the right size. I wanted to make a half-lap joint on the ends of the short panels, and I nibbled away at that with a table saw. You can see how that comes together there. And then it was time to make the bottom of the box, which I used a thin piece of plywood for, and cut a groove in the sides. One of the things I struggled with when I was doing this is coming up with the right spacing for the sides. Normally you would make a box and it would be pretty easy to figure out exactly what size you wanted the finished product to be, and you would cut the top to fit in that finished product. But this was different. I've got a license plate that is a fixed size, and I'm making the frame of the box fit around it. So I actually cut some sides that were too short on the short end, and the long sides were too long. I still don't know exactly how I did that. In the process, I lost some of the video, but that's one of the things you want to watch out for if you try a project like this, is really look at your measurements carefully in order to make sure that you don't mess up. Now with everything cut to the right size, I can fit the box together and you can see how it begins to go together. I'm building it all at once. I'll cut the lid off a little bit later. But first it's time to take the stain off of those reused panels that I'm using, and then begin the process of gluing it up. It was a little bit of a challenge to kind of wrestle these pieces together because, again, I'm putting it all together at once. Once the glue dried, it was time to take it apart, and then time to cut the box and the lid into two separate pieces. This is the first box I made, and I'm really happy with how this turned out. Everything really nice and square. I think having a nice square piece like that license plate really made it easy to put this together. I kicked around a couple different ideas of how to affix the top to the base of the box, and what I wound up doing is just cutting some strips so that the box lid could just sit on top of the base. I kind of offset them there with a scrap piece of wood, glued them up, let them sit, and it came out pretty well, I think. Another round of letting glue dry and doing a little bit of cleanup work on this, and then I used something that I hadn't used before, wipe-on poly, and it really made the grain just pop a little bit on this wood. I don't know what kind of wood this is, but it didn't look too finished, it didn't look too overdone, and I really like how it turned out. I'll give you a close-up here in a second to show you exactly what it looks like. The wood really soaked up that polyurethane. I think I may go back and put another coat or two on it to really protect it. So there it is. I think it's a pretty cool project. I'm happy with the way it turned out. I think this will look good sitting on my coffee table. Maybe throw the remotes in there so I don't lose them. Let me know what you think about the project. Comment, like it, subscribe. There'll be more projects coming.